Let me record. Thank you for meeting
Right.
face to face. Huge
hmm
criteria the team wants to see. We're doing everything we can to dox people. And you
hmm
smile, which is nice. Some of the devs don't want to smile or show their face. And three times now they say, "Oh, my camera's not working." Now that's the same thing that the scammer said when I was working with him. Okay. I trusted Fiverr so much because they predicate themselves on protecting us as an escrow service. And I know I messed up because I did not have the code audited right away. I thought I could trust the guy. There was a lot of red flags, and I know now later I should trust my intuition. It's just very powerful. But he was the first developer I hired like this, and yeah, he just wrecked us. He built the code, fill red flags, which GitHub, they have a bot that goes through there and they check the code automatically, but it doesn't do it immediately. They just do it on like a first come first serve basis. So only later, after this all happened, I checked the code again and it said extreme warning, high warning, high warning, high warning, all the way down, medium warning, low warning, all the way through it, riddled. And Fiverr's kind of working with me. We're going back and forth. I showed them now screenshots of the code. They acted like they couldn't click on the GitHub, like I opened it public access. But I have all the files that he delivered, and after I find the dev that builds this first stage, the fundraiser, I'm going to also hire for auditing all the parts of the code because
hmm
we could relaunch. Some devs suggest we go on an EVM chain for more security and transparency. I said that's great. I wanted to hear your feedback. Did you get a chance to read the fundraiser program and see what that really
Yes,
is?
yes. Yes, yeah, actually it looks very, very good. So actually it is very sorry. I feel very sorry, you were scammed by someone on Fiverr.
Yeah.
So that's the scammers way, They don't show you their faces and just to have a chat on Fiverr, something like that.
So he's
So
not very smart because
mhm,
upon having the funding for litigation, I think he feels that if he just scams us out of all the money, I'd be so broke, I wouldn't be able to litigate. And I'm
all the
kind of,
money.
yeah, all the money. Well, there was, some people had coins in our wallet, but most of it was staked. We had over 50%. Was it 50% staked? I'm trying to remember. We're getting an audit of it done right now by another guy. And he's not really performing well enough. I might have to cancel. Like I told him, you got one more chance. He's on three reports. I said, give us the reports of all this ballot AI token that was staked so we know how much I'm going to refund every investor. Because now that it's crashed next to zero, mind you, we had like 50% of the total tokens produced, purchased from myself that were dev funds that we'd use for the liquidity pools and things like this. And he stole all that. So the token was very high value at the point. We had $70,000 of liquidity between two liquidity pools, 40,000 on Meteor, 30,000 within our own decks. And he rugged all that. We had a little wrapped Bitcoin. We had, and all of this was mainly purchased through my business credit cards. Although they normally don't let you purchase crypto, some of the money I sent to him to buy the Solana to deploy. Um, but yeah, it was like he basically I drained $90,000 on this project. At the very end, he built the fundraiser that you're looking at. I made a few tweaks, but he built it, and that's the only part we don't have code for. And that was the only part that worked like without flaw until he crashed it. I mean, everything worked, but um I think the moral of the story is the day that the code is delivered, I'm having a party audit the code immediately. And that way I have a 14-day window. Fiverr says that because it went beyond the 14-day window, that's my own risk and they're not going to refund me anything. But they're taking another look at it. If they find malicious code, which I'm hoping now this last email they respond to me, then maybe they'll do something. But he's not smart because we also did a PayPal transaction after the fact outside, and he used Telegram. And another developer that he also tried to scam on LinkedIn told me he was doing a kind of scam through a Discord group where new devs are looking for work, and he was
hmm
acting like he's hiring them, and she could tell that something's really fishy about this guy. And she, showed me that this could happen. She believes that we could actually subpoena the IP of his computer from the Telegram, from the legal service. I found a group called payback.com out of Israel. They can do everything for 10,000. I'm trying to find another company that might compete, do it a little less possibly, but we could just go with them if we raise the money. Looking at the smart contract, how amazing these raise funds. Did you ever hear about some of the prior ones that were around back during Uniswap's birth, like 4 years ago? Smart contracts were becoming popular, and the smart contract fundraiser became popular, particularly with a group called Forsage. Do you remember hearing about that?
Yes, yes, I remember it.
Do you remember, were you around at the time to take a look at it or any of the competitors? There's a lot of clones that came out right after.
Yes, yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
They made hundreds of millions, billions of dollars very quickly, but they had no soul. They had no purpose. Just to fundraise is not a purpose. It's a multi-level marketing scheme, a pyramid scheme, basically. People end up hating it. Government came after them eventually saying this is a scam because they tell people, look, if you join, you have potential to make so much money. We're going to help you. They don't help people at all. And then there's no real delivery of any product or service. So standing alone, we are independent with this idea that we will be the first with a real utility coin, a token that backs it up, and the project to build a whole ecosystem that gives value,
Mhm.
and a launch pad that gives value to different projects. Were they political action committees based on policy? There, and another idea that we're doing to help charities. So the two ideas work hand in hand. One is for politics to give people decentralized government. Did you get a chance to read the white paper?
Of course,
So I sent you a
of course.
PDF document of the fundraiser,
Yes,
but
yes,
in the
yes.
in the message I send a link for ballot.now.site. So the
Yes.
white paper shows like this is based on the idea of decentralized government, which is known as the ballot access process, where the people get to put their ideas on the ballot and they get to vote directly for the laws that they want to change. Or in most cases, it's just like getting a better candidate or removing a candidate through the recall process. But in countries all over the world, we have the right to initiative to create laws and referendum to block a bad law by a popular vote. And the world is asleep because we've always had these powers since the constitutions, like in Switzerland, it was the first country to really adopt it. States all over the US have done it, and countries all over
Mhm.
the world, from Japan to Costa Rica. A lot of South American countries are dabbling in it. Mexico has it, I found out. Canada has
Mhm.
it on a local level. And I have a breakdown. We've done reports of every single country in the world's ballot access. There's several nonprofits that promote this, but it is the idea that people have should have our own say in government rather than just voting for a politician we hope for. So we're taking this top-down model like a pyramid of government and we're making it horizontal, where people have the way to vote on laws as long as it doesn't violate their own constitution. So nothing radical like in South Africa where they have a huge communist uprising where they want to murder all the white farmers. And they are. They're murdering all these people. If they were to use direct democracy, at least the South African government claims that they have limits in government. They wouldn't let them do that to just make it legal. But Trump just interviewed the guy, totally embarrassed him in front of national TV that he was saying there's not an epidemic of white farmers being murdered. And he showed all these videos of the communists singing and dancing, saying, "Murder the white farmer, murder," and they're all jumping up and down. Crazy. What country are you from again?
Serbia.
You are Serbia. Found so many Serbian developers. Your country has got a lot of blockchain development. Did you graduate from a university that was teaching this, or is this self-taught?
I'm I'm originally from Kazakhstan,
Okay.
Central Asia,
Yeah.
located in Central Asia. And
Yes,
I
yes.
immigrated here about 5 years ago.
Okay.
So I graduated from the University of Astana, the
Okay.
capital of Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan. Did you ever hear about B Borat and his movies? They're really
That's
crude.
my
He pretends to be the dictator of Kazakhstan, and it's a really crude humor, but it's funny. Borat. Um, well, yeah, so we have
Mhm,
a plan. We're going to litigate.
mhm,
Upon getting the first 10K, we're very sure, the company is sure. This guy holds
mhm,
like 300,000 in one of the wallets that we connected to him. So he's
mhm,
got the money. And when he gets a subpoena that he could go to jail for 10, 20 years, he's going to
mhm.
soil his pants. He's going to realize that this scam caught up with him. He's trying to scam multiple people. We're going to do a deeper research to see if there's other rug pulls connected to his wallet as well. So we could potentially get a huge lump sum from him, buckling at the knees, realizing he's going to go to jail for a long time unless he does this. He might just lower his sentence because I'm not sure how Serbian police and justice system works. But that's one way to get capital. But beyond that, they say the best payback is to be extremely successful. And so the plan is to start with a fundraiser, doing the math. based on this with the lowest possible invest. We started at 0.05 Solana on a 5 by 5 matrix. If people refer five people, refer five, who refer five, it's over 1,900,000 people just once we get down to that ninth level. It's mind blowing. And when we do that, and we add up this numbers, it's that the top person or anyone who gets a matrix of 9 people or 5 people by five, if that goes out, they're going to earn over 4,800 Solana in profits just from a 0.05 invest. And all they
Perfect,
have to do is bring
perfect.
in 2 people, no, 5 people on based on that.
Five
It
people,
really is so
yeah.
amazing. If someone just brings in one person and they grow the whole network onto them, they have huge potential. So all of these degens on X.com that promote meme coins and stuff, they will drool all over this. They're going to be like, wow, I want to get this. None of these programs exist anymore because it fell out in favorability when they realized there's no purpose beyond the hype
Mhm.
of fundraising and begging for money. We're the first with the utility. See how that's going to have some more traction?
Mm, actually, I had a look at the document you provided. So, um, yeah, the second section's inviting others. So, here mentioned your when someone in levels 2 to 3 joins and pays, yeah, 0.05 Sol or more.
Yeah.
Uh, this part, yeah, perfect, perfect,
So we're
perfect.
fundraising for a real purpose for 2 tokens. So I'm going to
Three
amend the
tokens.
document I haven't done. Right now it's just talking about ballot AI. But my life goals is to utilize my natural creativity that I've always had. I was an artist growing up, and I studied martial arts later. I went from visual art to
Martial arts.
yeah, I went to music and I still produce music. I still do. I don't really do as much visual art anymore, but music I love. And I also do martial arts. And martial arts really have what grown me as an individual. I've been practicing under a grandmaster for 20 years. So kung fu. So you see the
Kung
yin
Fu.
yang. Yeah. Are you familiar with any kung fu at all?
Nah, no, no,
Okay.
I'm not.
So it's really about the Buddhist monks and the
Mm-hmm,
Taoists based on meditation, qigong
mm-hmm,
to enhance the vitality and health. The martial aspects are a byproduct to self-defense to defend us from others. Very much like my life path has got involved in politics to defend us from politicians. But instead of using violence like the communists, or just voting for politicians and hoping they fix things, seeing people are passive and complacent essentially between every election. We're working to raise the consciousness that we can stop corrupt government in a indirect way, like Aikido or Tai Chi, where the power comes in, we use the opponent's force against them and we draw back. Okay. We're going to use ballot initiatives in a similar way, where we're using the very constitution that gives us the power to have a direct vote on law and maximize its potential. So the world is ready for a shift. I have a chart on the main page that shows a chart of the history of these growing over the years
sure,
to
yes.
today, and it's just with all the corruption in the world, people want a solution. It's a different mindset, and it's in the constitutions. I'll have to check out what Serbia offers as well, just to see what kind of ballot access they have. But other countries want it. There's a huge utility, and it's backed by the end of the day, beyond all the token ecosystem is the USDC smart contract it describes in the white paper. This will be connected to the AI we've had developed. We've had the backend developed by a gentleman out of the UK.
Mm-hmm,
And basically, a human typing can type to
mm-hmm,
research the names. They have to verify if the signatures are valid. And it takes
mm-hmm.
about an hour to do 100 signatures on average for someone who's skilled. We have the software that can help the human quickly extract the data and instantly match up the potential matches to do it where it's only about 1 second per signature. And we can scale it faster once we get to upgraded models where it could do 100 signatures a second. And eventually, we want to get it where even signature fraud, fraudulent handwriting that looks like it's been, written by someone else to try to pretend if you see multiple names on the sheet that look similar handwriting, the AI will detect that. At that point, we go beyond the private market and we go to the public market, where governments all over the world would use this to stop voter fraud as well. The state of California alone, where I get the majority of my contracts, I've been doing for 20 years, they spent over $20 million just for signature validation in their state. And we could take that whole contract for 19 million We could lower the cost a little bit, but requiring them to purchase a vast amount of our tokens and stake them for the period of time
Makes
so that we can
sense.
just boost the value of every new government that jumps on board. The top campaigns we're going to be able to push to the crypto world to adopt this is what everyone in crypto wants, which is a Bitcoin reserve. And then maybe other assets like whether they want to have Ethereum and Solana and Sui and Internet Computer, Cardano. There's all these great projects, AI projects. Governments would adopt those as a rainy day fund. So when the government's economy is having challenges, they can extract from that crypto to help them. And because
Perfect.
they're not moving fast enough, we can push the envelope, push this agenda, organizing people, starting with this fundraiser. And the way I described using Telegram, breaking people into
Hmm.
their different countries where they select their emoji for their country or their state,
Hmm.
where in the US they'd get to. So we get to see how many people are joined in each country. And once we reach a critical mass, we can do amazing things. If we get, upon getting the 5% required for ballot access, we don't have to have long signature drives anymore. We can have ballot access like that from a message in the Telegram or Discord or however we organize, X.com groups. So this is a
Perfect.
billion-dollar potential. The US it was about 6 billion. I'll have to get some more clear estimates. 2 billion to 6 billion. I mean, it depends. Some of them are for candidates. But they spend billions every election on these campaigns, and we would be able to get every single contract once we complete that final component of the USDC smart contract to the AI, because then we create an escrow service. Just like Fiverr has an escrow service to protect investors' funds. Now, all those millions of dollars that instead go to private companies and have them listed on the white paper of all the top US companies that make many millions of dollars every election or every year. Now, that money would be acquired by us because it's a simple value proposition. And then once they decide they want to do it, that's when we educate them about smart contracts and USDC and show them that it's insured with vaults, just like the bank money they trust. And it would be a easy transfer from the mainstream fiat currency world into crypto using USDC and then adopting our token. So we see the token that could reach billions. And another idea a developer had was to build this on base chain instead. Then we're in the door with Coinbase on their base chain, bringing something that can help them in their lobbying efforts. They've paid millions of dollars for lobbyists to talk to politicians. When they're not listening, we have the contingency plan to put it on the ballot to let the voters decide, was to protect crypto startups, to protect crypto access for buyers, to have a Bitcoin reserve, and a very most important one, probably the top most important one, which is blockchain audited voting. Where the votes cast on a ballot, they get audited
Hmm.
through a QR code,
Hmm.
a coin, or a transaction. We get a blockchain
Hmm.
audit. I was in the election audit in my state in Arizona with the first blockchain startup out of Virginia Tech working to create blockchain voting called Follow My Vote. I was working for them creating media, and I was
Hmm.
in the audit, and my YouTube is still up there, and it shows that the machine was off at my table of all chances, the serendipity. I tell you, we got that on YouTube. The company failed. They didn't quite have things working out. But there was other blockchain startups. Now there's a new one called Votem to actually have a full-on blockchain vote. But they don't understand. When I talk to their leaders, they want to lobby politicians. And I'm telling them, we just need to put it on the ballot and let the voters
Hmm.
decide. So we have a huge campaign that gets the public involved as well. When they hear about the importance of politics, of why to get behind this. Then we just convert them to get them into USDC. And I have two programs, one for the elections, one for nonprofit fundraising. It's a very simple idea.
Hmm.
So instead of the DEX and DAO, I'm just going to change this that one is funding for our political measures, the ballot AI, the other is funding for
Hmm.
what we call economic lift.
Economic.
The two work like harmony, yin and yang. One's
Hmm.
for politics, one's for voluntary and charity. And they both work hand in hand because that fundraiser that helps charity can also help the political issues, and the political issues also help the charity, like the homelessness, which is subject to policies that the government created that allows for homelessness to grow, and the drug
Hmm.
use and so forth that grows. Essentially, they have to work hand in hand. The IRS has a law that says you do not have free speech as a nonprofit to talk about politics and the policies that are the root causes of what is the problems these nonprofits are solving.
Hmm.
They say we have landed the free, you have free speech. If you're a nonprofit, you cannot speak about the politicians that people would vote against or the policies. See the irony? I figured this out, but people don't recognize this. So we're going to do something dynamic, and there's a very simple business plan that we would have you build as the developer we choose as well, because all this is a huge ecosystem. The voluntary fundraiser is a very simple idea to replace transaction fees with donations. So I found out through Third Web how to build smart contracts, and then we can get entrepreneurs everywhere to build those contracts, submit them for approval, or we could have a whole ecosystem built out where it's just user friendly and built on its own instead of Third Web. We can maybe tap into third web technology or build our own. But basically, they create the smart contract so the business gets 98%, 2%, which is about the competing rate for a credit card. We'd be able to
Hmm.
make it any percent that they want. Totally negotiable, future-proof idea. No matter how low those credit card companies charge, we can charge less on the blockchain. The smart contract divvies the majority to the business for instant finality. And then the other portion goes to the entrepreneur, so they get passive income. But the majority of that leftover, over 50% for starters, goes to the nonprofit. So they create all the smart contracts for all the schools and all the fundraisers. And then the whole community has fundraisers sending their customers to locally owned businesses because every time they make a purchase, it goes right back to their charity in real time. That will create
Yeah.
mainstream adoption. And no other crypto can compete with that because they're all trying to come up with their QR code readers and their systems. No, no, no. We're teaching people true DeFi. It's backed by my own research. Back when the last bear market started, I dived into DeFi so full on. I found a
Hmm.
solution for the DeFi for the bear market that also works in the bull
Hmm.
market. I'm sharing with my whole community where we focus on researching, and I teach how to do the research of finding the top stablecoin farms that have USDC and US dollar tether or another native token, where people provide liquidity, they have no impermanent loss, and they get yield from the new project that can be as high as 300% APY, 100% also when they're very new. And when they scale down, when more people invest, it goes lower. It goes to 80 and lower. A lot of them are even 50, 20%, and very many have around 10% or even 5% where they stay pretty constant, which is better than a bank. So we can onboard the masses to DeFi with this program no one else in crypto is talking about because it's not agnostic to, it's not, I mean, it is agnostic. It's not just focused on one blockchain like all these other cryptos. We're talking about researching all of them and creating a user group like a any kind of DeFi research group. But we'll focus on volatile coins too, the ones that give us huge profits. But the stability is where during this bull market you can capture your stable coins. So you capture your profits. And during the bear market, you're going to be earning great yield the whole time without risk, without as much risk as anywhere else. So these two programs work hand in hand. The fundraiser is the component. We're going to give it a yin yang motif, like my personality. So people really see that in the program, my love for this program. So we're going to
Hmm.
have one for the voluntary program fundraiser, one for the
Hmm.
Ballot AI. We're going to have it separated by the communities.
Hmm.
We're thinking about using Telegram, but we want an
Hmm.
integration where if we use base chain, which sounds like the new idea,
Hmm.
then we automatically have the user groups created and a portal where the user signs in with their wallet and they get to see all the people that they brought in, their total profits, the total spillage they lost unless they upgrade their total donation
Hmm.
contribution amount,
Hmm.
and the user groups for their nation, and of course one international group for everybody. So, what do you think when analyzing this? How have you had any experience where you're building a project that either automatically does this through Telegram or could go into Discord, like another developer suggested, where it creates those user groups and gives people the information on their front end?
Yeah, so I do have some experience related to Web3 integration to front end and also smart contract development, also Telegram bot as well. So what I'm gonna say, yeah, so does this idea yeah come from yourself, from your mind?
This is
I
all from
mean,
my creative mind.
yeah, awesome. You're genius. Yeah, it's very,
Thank
very.
you. I'm a genius, but thank you. I'll accept that because but yeah, I've had so many problems. I'm learning though, so I'm being so thorough to dox my devs right now, and that's why actually I'd like to get your Telegram link right now while we're here because you can't share it.
Mhm.
That way we can just further
Okay.
have communication quickly. And
Perfect.
yeah, I want to get like any
Perfect.
other details because my community is going to vote on who we want. Like you're definitely one of the
Perfect.
top people that we can select from for sure. We only have a
Perfect.
handful of people. There's just a few other people that will look. And most likely, I want to give the work to all the devs that really love the idea because it's a huge program. It doesn't need to be just built by one. What we need is to finish the program because once
Hmm.
we finish it, doesn't matter if you just get this contract. All you need is one project you're a part of that you get equity in, and you can retire from being a developer. You learned all the code. Maybe you'll want to code for the love of it. I get that because you can have your own ideas and projects that you want to help. But you could also retire from this one project just based on the idea that this is worth billions in the US alone. So we have 50 NFTs that are core, 52 that are based off of the states. And those are going to be the prime shareholders that own the NFTs. I'll give you one for the production when we get to the end. And that's going to get equity in the USD smart contracts because we're able to beat and cut the cost even up to like 99% of all
Yeah.
of the costs that these $1 billion of contracts go through because the AI is so quick. They don't have to hire a manager that hires the people typing anymore, that hires the petitioners to go out. We're connecting the petitioners to the proponents. The petitioners will get paid, and they can even make better money than they have before because there's no middlemen. But the proponents can save so much money. We can compete and beat all their prices. That means when we have such a good deal, we're going to upbid them. We want to still make as much as we can. We get to then share that equity with the token holders and the NFT holders. So, each NFT's got to be worth many millions of dollars every single year in passive income just from those real contracts we would get in the US alone.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
So,
your Telegram? Or you could send it in the chat if you'd like.
oh, okay, okay. Let me send you my Telegram ID.
Yep. Now, some of the devs suggested they didn't think Solana was as good for the transparency. And at first, it kind of shocked me. I heard this from a couple people that they suggest doing EVM, and I'm fine with that. I like base chain more. If anything, I want to create then a Solana base bridge and have another liquidity pool on base chain so people can cross
Hmm.
between them. But I'm curious about that because I want to hear all opinions. So many top projects are building on Solana. So why would some people say that it may not have the same security, and transparency? Is it the
Hmm.
case, even if it's built into Telegram, is there any kind of risk with that, or could it be
Hmm.
100% solid, immutable blockchain, just like we would expect?
Uh, yeah, perfect. So let me send you my Telegram ID, okay?
Yeah, yeah, just inside the chat, or you put it in Fiverr.
Okay, okay.
You can't. You don't want to
Let
do it
me.
in Fiverr. You don't want to do it in Fiverr. Yeah, because they
Then
can.
my account will be blocked.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Please give me 1 minute.
Yep. Here, I'll just give you mine
Let me.
too. You can just, yeah.
Okay.
I have one called Crypto Petitioner, which is for my cell phone access when I'm out and not at the computer. My camera broke when I was petitioning and it fell in the rain, and the camera broke, so I had to set up a new one. This one is Sifu Guillermo. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'm
Uh,
also, yeah, I have another blockchain project I could produce later. I started playing around with a 3D VR suit, and I have one
mm-hmm.
little video. I returned it at the time because it wasn't as accurate as I felt I needed, but I want to come back to it because I created a video of me doing kung fu in the 3D suit. And it's
Mm-hmm.
so good. It would show all the fingers, but it just wasn't precise enough. Like kung fu is so precise to the millimeter of precision based on your own anatomy. Like when we throw a punch, we want the punch to be totally horizontal because not just that you need to throw a perfect horizontal punch for combat to protect yourself, but because it's that mind training, training the mind to train the body for precision that gives you the accuracy so that you can have just like the most focus, which develops you as a person. It develops your mind to have focus in all kinds of other areas. Great. I got your link.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and send you a message on Telegram now.
Perfect.
It says we have, let's see, wait. Here we go. It says we have 10 minutes left on this call, but we've covered a lot. I like to pitch you as well because never giving up. Oh, I love the name. Honestly, because the name speaks volumes of what I'm about, what our community is about, that we're not giving up just because we got rug pulled. I went and I bought back the tokens again after it crashed. I bought back, I now have 25% of them. So, it's going to keep going up in value. I was like, I'm going to have to buy these now before someone snipes it because we had like 2,500 or so of the totally burnt LP tokens. I'm like, I don't want to walk away from that. I don't want to just create a new LP somewhere else and walk away. So, yeah, we're gonna bring this back like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Yeah. And I'm even thinking I'm so grateful like when we build this, I'm gonna start teaching Kung Fu for free to a lot of people that need it. My people in Nigeria, we have a great team in Nigeria. Their government is uproared. They have like
Mhm,
a militant group taking over again. They're trying to weed out corruption, but each time they do it, a new government is installed that's just as corrupt as the last one. So
mhm,
we're working to help bring the idea of direct democracy to Nigeria. Three other countries in Africa have it. Egypt has it. South Africa, which desperately needs it to deal with all these murders and other issues facing their nation. And
mhm.
what was the other one? Egypt. It's skipping my mind right now, but it's a worldwide thing. I keep track of too.
Cameroon.
What's so fascinating?
Mhm.
Did you see the video of the Egyptian pyramids that show the new discovery underneath the pyramids?
Actually, not yet.
Oh my God, it's mind-blowing. Because did they teach you in school that they were like slaves that would carry these blocks, like these megaton blocks?
I had a look on some video related to Egyptian pyramids, but how can I say? Yeah, when I was young, I was really shy, so I was very easy to be frightened everything. So uh from that moment, yeah, actually I didn't like the kind of yeah
It's
something.
fascinating because it shows a lost history of the world that we don't know. And even today, there's scientists that are creating free energy machines with vacuums and magnets and things like this, which is a type of idea that we would love to adopt and see if we could get research for because free energy for the world will set us free, what happened? There's no real explanation. Even the most powerful machinery today cannot lift these blocks for the pyramid. And what they just discovered is more depth underneath the pyramids than even the tallest building in the world, which is in Saudi Arabia today.
Hmm,
Um,
hmm.
they
I
have
remember.
buildings of structures underneath the ground
Uh-huh.
of these huge cylinders that go so deep into the earth, it's mind blowing. And so, what more would it be? A most interesting initiative like Egypt has probably other political issues they need to deal with, but I think the whole world could get behind saying, let's get scientists to figure out and research what the heck is going on with these pyramids. Were they power generators?
Hmm.
Is there some ancient science here that could free the world with infinite power pulling from the atmosphere, like some people speculate? It's
Hmm.
just, it's fascinating. The future is really in our hands if we could do that.
I remember one thing. So I heard about your Egyptian pyramid in Giza. Am I right? Giza?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, actually, uh, pyramids are built using a lot of large blocks, and we can't find any rocks or blocks around Egypt. So that must be shipped from somewhere far away from Egypt. But in ancient times, how did they ship it? Yeah, so actually,
yeah,
it was very mysterious.
yeah. So just I know we're getting off topic, but it's fascinating. It's just like the potential of ballot initiatives is really unlimited. So when the people want to ask for these laws, they can. Let me see. I'll just type on my AI. I have a really good engine that does a lot of research and say,
Mhm.
what uh oh, I'm gonna say, are there any you are a Serbian citizen as well, or you just live there?
Citizen.
You're a citizen?
Yes, I'm a citizen
Oh,
in
okay, yeah, yeah.
Serbia.
Are there any ballot access rights for Serbian citizens? Initiative, referenda,
Mhm.
recall, nomination. or other that let people vote directly on uh, ballot measures. Okay, let's see what it says because I need to know. So many devs are from Serbia, and I want to see if this actually hits home.
But I'm different from them. I'm originally from Kazakhstan.
Right, Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Yeah, national level. Oh, both national and local. Okay, I'm asking the AI.
Hmm.
Let's see. Selecting all types. Next, let's see. Interesting. Let's see what it says. Okay, it's thinking. Yeah, so in the Telegram, while this is thinking, and
Hmm.
I'll let you know, just send me any information that our community can look over. Like if you have a website, if you have a LinkedIn, if you have a Twitter with a blue check mark, that's great. Any other, of course, projects you've worked on that are public. If the ideal situation is not a public, if you worked on a project and your name or your dev handle is not
Hmm.
attached to it, it doesn't quite count because I've seen so many scams where people say, "Oh yeah, I did this, I did that," and they're not even connected, right? Like one of the guys that didn't want to be on video, he said he worked on one of these popular crypto games like Axie Infinity, and I looked in there and I'm looking for their developers, and it's like your name's not in here. It's like show me like where the proof is. Okay, you do have the constitutional rights for referenda. Interesting.
Hmm.
Constitutional changes, changes to autonomous province borders, changes to self-government unit borders. Referenda can be either constitutional or legislative in nature. Amazing. So you have it says citizens and autonomous. I'll send you this whole thing, so just so you can wrap your mind around it.
Hmm.
Because this means that this would hit home. Like you build this, and we can help
Hmm.
Serbian citizens have the power they need to make sure that the government is truly representative to make it a better country in general. So it's not like it needs to go overboard. Like we need to start thinking about everything we change, but we certainly
Hmm.
need to figure out how to limit government when it has too much power, how to cut waste and abuse, make it transparent, as we would all
Hmm.
want. And how cool would it be to have a referendum in Serbia for a Bitcoin reserve? You guys have so many devs there. I mean, you'd have so many people getting behind that. Recall process up here, it says, so you can kick politicians out of office when they're not good. Wow, that's amazing. While legal framework exists, there's still limited information about successful citizen-initiated ballot measures or referenda in the recent 5 to 10 years. The political context includes recent turmoil, disputed elections. That's why we need blockchain voting. They may have influenced the implementation of these democratic tools. The Venice Commission has suggested the electoral referendum legislation should be built on solid foundation, so they would want a blockchain. That's a group that we reach out to for funding or for support. The Venice Commission out of Serbia, evaluated and potentially revised after each election and protected from late amendments. It says in conclusion, while Serbia established constitutional legal frameworks for direct democracy through initiative referenda, a practical implementation success rates of these mechanisms in recent years are not well documented in the available sources. The system appears to focus more on referendum rights and citizen initiatives rather than the recall mechanisms. Still very fascinating. It hits home and directly addresses issues in your country. So if we went and did Ask AI, like what are the top issues in Serbia, we'd find them and like you'd see like you'd actually be part of building this. So I want you to be motivated. The best things we need are transparency, which you can provide in the responses. I'll follow up with the group. It won't take more than a week. Like every day, I'm checking in to see what people are delivering. And then, because there's only a limited amount of devs that I'm going to interview anyway, we're already talking with enough people, I think, that are qualified to do this, of course. Competing value would be potentially price because I just got ripped off. Like we need someone to do that. You get the benefit to be one of the first people in there. The whole idea, have this idea of the website saying we're going to have a rotating feature where in sequential order, each profile is put to the top of the main website. So unless someone is referred directly from another individual, when they come to the site some other means through the marketing, everybody's going to get a chance to have someone joining under them no matter what. So it's got a real potential to be viral. You get that anyway as extra money you don't even have to do dev work for. So the lower cost we can get, the better. And run all the marketing costs. I have another 30,000 of my personal credit I'm willing to pump at marketing because I don't care if it bankrupts me at this point. Because we're going into the bull market. All that crypto will be able